So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening for our Southeast Asian delegates and good morning for our European delegates. I welcome you all for today's e-conference on digital lessons from 2020, preparing for the new normal, organized by Indian Chemical News, a credible knowledge and information-led media platform in the chemical industry. The presenting partner, next slide. The presenting partner for today's e-conference is Aspen, a company that is embedding artificial intelligence throughout industrial manufacturing environments. Myself, Praveen Prashant, editor Indian Chemical News, will be your host and moderator for today's e-conference. The agenda for today's e-conference is, it's a welcome note by me from 3 to 3:05 p.m. 3:05 to 3:30 p.m. is the Aspen Tech presentation. From 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. is the panel discussion, where we will have 3 rounds, one of 60 seconds and another of 4 minutes each of 2 tracks. 4:15 to 4:25 p.m. we will open it up for audience Q&A session, and 4:25 to 4:30 p.m. will be the closing note by me, and I will also announce the ICN Play and Win contest winner. Before we talk about the discussion points, let me give you a brief background. For most of us, digital technologies have enabled critical capabilities during this turbulent time. The day starts with smartphone screens, and everybody does the same. We are all using each day, but most of us are also using digital capabilities to run projects, operate plants, and continue product development. And this was highlighted in a World Economic Forum event where they stated, unsurprisingly, the organizations that were farthest down the digital transformation journey before COVID-19 struck are tending to adapt to the crisis better than their peers, which is a very good observation. The focus is on digital transformation activity, what we have learned in recent months, and where we are headed as we eventually move towards recovery. As chemical companies show signs of recovery from the global pandemic, it's clear that digital technologies have helped pave the way from equipping remote workers with online tools to maintain plant operations, to empowering development teams with real-time data to collaborate on new products. Companies that were ahead in the digitalization strategies had a distinct advantage. So the key discussion points for today's e-conference is shift to remote working to reduce COVID-19 transmission among employees. How prepared is the organization for autonomous operations and the challenges faced implementing them? Use of digital scheduling tools to ensure social distancing in production areas and future applications. How digital technologies can help build resilience into business, and how better prepared are you for future disruptions? Success stories for AI and machine learning, and how it is enabling new capabilities in operations. We have an elite list of speakers. These are Mr. Harindra Pandya, Joint President, Aarti Industries; Mr. Partha Sood, General Manager, Technology, Haldia Petrochemicals; Mr. Sanat Kumar, Executive President and Director, Gujarat Fluorochemicals; Mr. Sunil Patil, Director, APJ Solution Consulting, Aspen Tech. Next slide. During the course of the event, we have this ICN Play and Win contest. So just let me brief you about the contest. I will be asking questions from the audience during the course of the session, and the one who responds fast with the correct answer stands eligible for winning ₹1,000 gift voucher from Amazon. I would request to be attentive and listen to whatever the speakers are talking about so that you can answer it correctly. All the questions will be asked by the moderator of the session, and replies need to be given in the chat window. So you need to give your replies in the chat window box of your respective screen on Zoom platform. Final winners to be announced at the close of the e-conference session today, that is Wednesday, 10th March at 4:30 p.m. Only the person with the correct answer responding first in order of priority shall be declared winner. Organizer and sponsor partner employees are not eligible to participate in the contest. Organizer's decision to be treated as final. In case of any discrepancies, gift vouchers to be sent electronically to all winners post completion of the session. So now let me request Mr. Sunil Patil, Director APJ Solution Consulting, Aspen Tech, to give his presentation. So over to Mr. Sunil Patil.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen. Thank you. Just can you confirm you can see my slides now?
Yeah, we can see your slides and you're also audible, sir. So
okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Praveen. And first of all, I also want to welcome three of our panelists, Mr. Pandya, Mr. Patasur, and Mr. Sanat Kumar. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, I think Mr. Prashant has already introduced, right? Today's discussion is more focused on the digital lessons, what we learned from 2020, and what are the key initiatives companies are driving this digital initiatives together with the sustainability in chemicals, right? So I'll be focusing on Aspen Tech's view on this, where we are helping and how we are helping our customers on achieving the digital journey, and of course, achieving the sustainability goals in chemical industry. So just very brief about Aspen Tech. I think most of you are aware about Aspen technology, but just to be introduced in a very brief manner, it's a proven technology company, right? We are in the industry for almost like 40 years in the process industry, right from upstream all the way up to the specialty chemicals and pharma and spec chem. We are leaders in the process simulation and optimization software. We have industry expertise across all the industry verticals, right from chemicals, pharma, consumer, food and beverages, and so on, right? And if you look at our customer base, right, we have more than 2,300 worldwide customers, which cut across all the top-notch chemical, oil and gas, refining, as well as spec chem and pharma industries, right? We deliver value to our customers, and if we just sum up the value what our customers presented in various conferences, all put together itself is roughly around $50 billion annual value what we deliver to our customer, right? It's been already achieved, it's been delivered by our customers, right? And the key focus of Aspen Tech is innovation, right? We spend a lot of money on the R&D, innovation, and of course the development into the new digitization and sustainability and so on, right? We have more than 120 patents already recorded, and of course we do have a partnership with world leading consulting and technology companies as such, like McKinsey, Accenture, and so on, right? I think one of the key other thing is about innovation, right, as I mentioned, but the other important thing about the innovation is of course not just on the fundamentals of the software, but is about the industrial AI, right? So Aspen Tech is really focused in what industrial AI is, what we call industrial artificial intelligence, which is what we have Aspen Tech bring its strengths from a domain knowledge, right? We do have a domain expertise from our experience across all industry verticals, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring in the data insights in the process industry together with the process simulation, right? So Aspen Tech is focusing on embedding AI/ML, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning, advanced analytics, as well as data science into the first principle models, right? So we call it as an industrial AI. So this is a brief background, right? And in India, we are present in India for almost like 2 decades, and we have an office in Pune in India, which serves the South Asia region for the Aspen Tech. That's brief about Aspen Tech. Let's come to the topic, right? Mr. Prashant already introduced, right? We talk about the new normal now, right? Now, what are the key resilience, right? What are the key building resilience things which really helping to recover the chemical industries, right? So this is a white paper which is published in around mid of 2020, which talks about the 6 keys to building the resilience, agility, as well as recovery of the chemical industry, right? I'll briefly introduce, so one can read it, but just briefly talk about what are the 6 keys. The first one is about adopting the new market needs, right? Which is about defining the digital twin, it's defining about the digitization, or one may call industry 4.0. It's a different terminology, but how it relates to process industry, right? So using digital twin technology, one can actually create a twins of existing asset, existing plant to define the new production boundaries, as well as potential alternate sites, or as well as evaluating the various production options, new catalysts, new technologies, and so on. While doing that, one has to really keep in mind about the safety limits, cost concerns, as well as bringing plant to the faster production rate, as well as most important is the skill set of the operators as well as the plant people, right? So this is one of the important building block of the digitization. Second, about the optimizing the production, right? So of course, companies have several technologies, but one of the key things which we have seen really is trending up is about the advanced process control, right? So today's advanced process control, which actually stabilizes the operations within new target range as demand varies, integrating capabilities of assets to find optimal operating conditions. And for most of the process units, right, this optimization can be done dynamically to ensure operational efficiencies even at low rates, right? This is very important, right? One can really optimize at a steady state, but how do we ensure to take care of the dynamic situation of the plant, right? Then we talk about the data, right? As you can see here, improve the product quality with a lot of insights from the existing data, because today in the plant data is available, but the question really is what I'm going to do with the data, right? So the technologies or the algorithms like multivariate analysis, right, identifies causes of process variability and targets the optimum conditions to improve the product quality, yield, and throughput, right? It's not just about the data, it's about how do we analyze using this multivariate analysis, right? And that's very important. And then how do we ensure to make sure that we improve the quality, the yield, as well as the conversion and so on in the plant, right? Of course, planning is an important aspect as well. How do I develop agile production planning, right? So leverage new tools, new technologies available for supply chain, which aligns and collaborates between the new terms like in today's environment is important, like remote operations, right? How do I ensure the plant is remotely operated, ensure it meets the market demand and also accepts the rapid change in the market demand, right? So the technologies can also help to evaluate the alternate scenario options, boost the collaboration, and of course alignment with the remote teams. That's also an important element of the today's digitization, right? Then maintain plant equipment reliability, right? I mean, unless you have a reliable plant, right, one can talk about optimization, but reliability is very important, right? So today, using AI-enabled insights to prescribe reliability solutions in new operating regions, and even as the maintenance activities may be delayed, right? So reliability of equipment, whether it's a static or rotating, it's an important element in this today's era, right? And finally, visibility, right? So increase the visibility of operators across the enterprise. So upskill the operators' knowledge and train on the new technologies and so on. And having a dashboard, I mean, people are using dashboard, but most importantly is the insights, right? What I'm going to do with the data, right? So dashboard can give you some data, but how I'm going to use that, what are the actionable insights I'm going to do that. And even in today's era, people are working remotely, work from home environment, right? If I'm connect to my plant with whatever technologies or using high-speed internet or VPN, how do I take the decision setting remotely, right? So those are the important things, what really we are looking into the today's digitization world. Okay. Having said that, right, of course, we do have some challenges in front of us, right? For the in the context of today's discussion, right, let's review some of those challenges, right? I think concerns about COVID-19 is all known, right? For all the matter, I think it's important the workforce, but at the same time, due to this pandemic situation, it's a dispersed now, right? And people need tools to ensure collaboration. And most important, the collaboration with the plant, with the operation, with technology, as well as the laboratory, supply chain, and so on, right? While doing that, one has to also ensure the plant is safety and reliability, right? Plant safety and reliability is important. Second is market volatility, right? So market remain very volatile. It's important that operations have the flexibility to respond to rapid changes. So one should really take care of the demand and supply chain ratio, right? Because market volatility is uncertain today. Sustainability, right? And later you'll hear from me and some examples about sustainability. I think most of the companies today talk a lot about sustainability. What are our sustainability got? How I'm going to reduce my energy? How I'm going to reduce my emissions, as well as ensure that my carbon is reducing, and so on. That's also important. And finally, about the knowledge, skill sets, experiences, right? As aging operations stop transition out of the workforce, we need to really train, upskill the engineers, right? We have to ensure that the new engineers or the trainee engineers, they come up to the speed as quick as possible and take control of the plant and really drive the operations as soon as possible, right? And finally, artificial intelligence, right? So AI can help with all of these challenges, enabling better collaboration with operations and the different disciplines, right? With speeding new product and process development and providing in-context guidance to new users. It really means about, it's more like a digital, in other words, in a simple language or a layman's language, it's like a Google for process engineer, right? So in context guidance, one should be really able to very quickly get an insights, what's happening in the plant, what could be the root cause, and how I can really quickly take the decision to fix that problem. So these are the challenges, right? So this is some survey, right? If you look at this graph, right? So this is more of a, in today's technology, right? Shifts happening, right? From pandemic in the current situation, digital technologies, including AI, those are critical things in the industry. Companies are really looking for the newer technologies, newer solutions, AI-enabled solutions, or all others, the solutions which really addresses the current business challenges, right? So this survey is from World Economic Forum. They have done this survey together with McKinsey. And what it really shows, companies that adopt AI technology within the first 5 to 7 years significantly outperform those that follow or lag behind, right? So as you can see the graphs, right? So the leaders which we follow this AI, right? They actually really are the leaders in the industry. And people who are lagging behind in digital technologies or AI technologies, those are really the laggers, right? So those companies that delay will miss the opportunity to grow, right? Because it is something really becoming essential things to really run the plants now, right? So those do not invest in AI will eventually lose the market share, right? This is a survey. It's an important survey available from the World Economic Forum and McKinsey. Yeah. So how to accelerate this, right? The key important thing, how Aspen Tech can help to accelerate this. So Aspen Tech is embedding AI into our solutions so you don't have to, right? In other words, what we are trying to do, we are helping our customers to embed AI technologies into the digital solutions, right? So when I say digital solutions, it could be a digital twins, it could be advanced process control or supply chains and planning and so on, right? So Aspen Tech is helping our customers improve the digital journey to accelerate your digital journey by embedding the AI technologies. And it really helps to solve the complex problem. We are making it easy for our customers to solve the complex problem, accelerate the value with higher quality, accuracy, as well as accessing the enterprise data very quickly, right? Automate and simplify the creation and sustainable models, reduce the total cost of ownership and so on, right? So we are there to help, and we are there with our customers, and I will show some examples how we are helping our customers to achieve their digital journey very quickly, rapidly, to deliver the maximum return on investment. Yeah. So this is very important, right? As we talk here, ultimately the goal of AI is not just to collect the data and do some analysis and use the AI algorithm to really come up with something like what we call the optimization or self-optimization plan. But what we're really looking is we are enabling our customers to making sure that the plant is self-optimizing plant, right? Which improves the reliability and integrity. As you can see this picture, right, from left to right, that is from supply chain all the way up to the planning, scheduling from supply chain, from the production to the supply chain, right? So what I'm going to do with the smart technologies, right? So the ultimate goal is to automate everything, automate the process engineering, automate the production and planning optimization, and also automate the reliability and maintenance. This is very important, right? So our goal is what really we call it is we want to make sure the plant becomes a smart plant, right? It doesn't mean that we don't need the experts, we don't need the consultants or the process engineer, but we are really enabling our customers to making sure plants are becoming smart with the technologies, with the AI, as well as with the data available today, right? So that's how what we are trying to enable our customers, what we call the self-optimizing plant, right? So you will have a data coming all the way from the feed to the detail or the engineering stage to the operations and production. And from the other side, you will have a data available to make sure it's a maintenance, improve the reliability, as well as planning, scheduling, and the safe and safer operations in the plant. That's the vision of Aspen. Right? So I talked a little bit about digitization and some of the key pillars of the digitization, right? At the same time, one of the other things which is becoming very important, and most of the companies have initiatives, is to focus on the sustainability, right? So what are the sustainability drivers in the industry, right? So some of the key sustainability drivers is the resource efficiencies, which where we want to optimize the resources such as water, utilities, energy, feedstock, and so on, right? So how do I make sure I improve the efficiency of the available resources today, right? Second is about energy, right? We talk a lot about energy transition, but most important is the energy transition together with the decarbonization, right? So companies talk about net carbon zero, right? Each company have their own vision. They're trying to reduce the carbon. They're trying to make the net carbon zero in the next 10 to 20 years. And third is about circular economy. It's about really plastic recycling. It's about PET recycling. Is about reduction of the plastic waste and innovate the technologies where we can reduce the emission of waste, right? So these are the three important sustainability drivers. As I said, right, companies are talking about the climate goals. And if you see the table at the right-hand side, some of the top companies like BASF, ExxonMobil, Braskem, Linde, Lotechem, and so on, right? So they have their own targets, right, to reduce the to reduce the net carbon, right? And these are the climate goals. So some companies, just to read some of them, like BASF, right, they want to maintain the level as is. But if you look at Linde, they want to reduce 35%, right, carbon by 2018. That was a bit old. But then if you look at these targets, right, the dates at the end, right? So Mitsui Chemical, they want to reduce 25% carbon by 2030, right, as compared to 2005. And so on, right? So the big players, they are leading the way to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And some companies have an aggressive target. Some companies want to really achieve net zero by 2030 or somehow by 2040 and so on, right? So in the recent trends, what we're seeing, you see the second bullet points, chemical companies' climate goals are becoming more ambitious. They are more focused on, and they are really looking the carbon cutting practices and goal setting to reduce the carbons and so on, right? So that's how this is becoming very important in the chemical industry. Right? This is another chart, right? It's a bit difficult to read, but what it really shows you what the digital technologies or solutions available in the entire chemicals value chain, right? So right from R&D, laboratory, or what we call as the pilot plant, all the way up to the plant optimization, where the various things in the plant, in the entire value chain, from the lab scale all the way to the production, the digital solution, be it the process analytics or the predictive and prescriptive maintenance for the reliability of the plant, or even in the plant, if there are things like the supply chain management, supply chain optimization, as well as people, what we talk about the entire optimization of the asset is called the self-optimizing plant and so on. So those are very tightly integrated and they are dependent on each other. The technologies talk with each other. The data transfers happen from one technology to another. And it's a completely integrated digital solutions available today, right? So this is an important aspect of the digital solutions. And sustainability, right? This is another survey. As you can see, this is from ARC Strategies 2020. So you can see from both energy industry and chemical industry, around 75% of the survey respondents, they say digital transformation is extremely or very, very extremely important for achieving the sustainability goal. So that's how the survey shows that 70% and around that, survey respondents, that digitization is the key for them. It's a very important goal or sustainability goal for the companies. Of course, there are other goals; those are also important as well. For example, aging workforce, operational excellence, and so on. But digitization is the key for the companies to achieve it, right? And of course, the technology, right? If you look at the question, how valuable are these technologies for improving the sustainability? Again, this is the survey result. And if you can break into the various things, like, for example, supply chain, APC, energy and utility optimization, so on, right? So the green color at the first here, the green color here at the C, that's extremely important, right? You see the digital technologies, advanced process control, and so on. Those are very important things for the companies to really progress in the sustainability. Right? I just want to share or highlight here is Aspen Tech actually joined as an enabler member in December 2020, right? So this is about the circular economy, about reducing the plastic waste. So there's an alliance, what it's called End Plastic Waste, is a community of various CEOs committed to getting ahead of this challenge, right? So this is a group of various CEOs, around 27, 28 CEOs they have got together. And today there are 52 CEOs who have raised around $1 billion for this initiative called Enabler, right? So Aspen Tech is also part of this, and together with these different companies, we are also committed our efforts to help our customers to recover, to redesign, as well as to make sure to reduce the emission and waste in this new initiative of circular economy. So we are there with our partners, making sure that we help to ensure the better design and optimization of the circular economy. And finally is about digital twin. I think this word is known, many people use it differently. It's about really enabling the remote work. It's about monitoring the equipment remotely, right? Monitoring the asset, right? Reduce the energy consumption and so on, right? And some people may call like soft sensors or inferential sensors, right? But what really this digital twin actually, it's in the today's world, it's definitely enable remote work, right? One of the big ways digital twins are being used by companies just within an asset environment. How do you move a lot of work centrally as opposed to out in the assets, right? And that takes people away from the harm. But certainly in today's environment, it enables people to get a lot of information about assets and make decisions remotely, right? So this is a key thing for the companies, right? So digital twins are becoming more and more important, and we have an examples where companies have actually adopting the digital twins. Just to give an example, this is hydraulics of a distillation column, right? So one has to really look at hydraulics of a column, so one need not go to the physically actually in the plant, open the column and see what's happening, right? So with our digital like technologies with Aspen Tech offers, one can do the debottlenecking, one can do the optimization of the column or address any physical damage issues or anything else in the column using the digital technologies available. That way it helps to improve the equipment performance, improve the yield and conversion, as well as making sure that operation is safe, efficient, and at a very low energy consumption, right? This is a key thing of the digital. And finally, with some examples, right? So I try to gather some examples which are published by our customers in the Asia region. So if you look at, so examples from companies like bulk chemicals, polymers, specialty chemicals, and so on, right? For example, Lotte Chemical in Korea, they actually deployed our digital twin solutions, and they could able to reduce 17.5% energy reductions in one of their plant, which actually translates around 16 million savings for them, right? Similarly, Dicel, okay, it's a polymer plant they have in Japan. So they used to do a lot of experiments for the new recipe development, and their efforts were reduced by almost 70%, right? Hanwha Chemical, they increased the production rate by almost 7% in their LDP plant, right? And all of these examples are examples which are actually Aspen Tech customers who have achieved these benefits using our digital technology and solutions. In the interest of time, I won't read everyone, but please feel to reach us if you really wanted to know details about that, because these are published case studies and we are happy to share with you all the published case studies. Okay. And finally, Aspen Tech vision, right? So our vision is really to transform the industry what we serve. We serve as a process industry across all the industry verticals, and our mission is basically to run the assets safer, greener, longer, and faster. And that's the Aspen Tech vision, and our journey is towards making sure that our customers they run their assets safer, greener, longer, and faster, right? So that's all I wanted to cover in the today's discussion. I touch upon the digitization aspects, AI, ML, embedded technologies, how Aspen Tech is helping our customers using AI, and as well as how we are working with our customers in achieving their sustainability goals, right? So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. For the presentation. The best. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. The best part was the slide which talked about how say different benefiting from this process, whether for energy, whether for innovation, whether for safe operations, whether for polymers, and whether for bulk chemicals. So with this, let me open the panel discussion. The topic is digital lessons from 2020, preparing for the new normal. As I have said, there will be 3 tracks. The first track for 60 seconds, followed by the second and third track of 4 minutes each. So I would request my first speaker, Mr. Harendra Pandya ji, Joint President, Aarti Industries, if he can talk about in 60 seconds, what are the lessons and how are we preparing for the new normal? So over to Mr. Harendra Pandya ji.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. It is always pleasure to connect on the ICN platform. Sunil very rightly covered very vast canvas of the AI, ML, and what industry needs. I'm here to present the user perspective as the industries and as we are grouping for the pandemic recovery and looking for the growth. I will definitely present in the subsequent session the expectation is a user case. But at the same time, I would like to also acknowledge, Praveen, the ICN, the work that you are doing. So I was just going through various conferences that ICN has conducted. You are covering a large area from agrochemical to pharma to petrochemical to chemical. Also the kind of topics that is selected, like today, you know, the digital, and you also selected MSME, you also selected MSME, you know, in one of the previous conference. I'm sure I was just reading somewhere that you are always limited, you know, by your own thinking. And I hit ICN platform to widen my thinking and know what my, you know, good colleagues are thinking about, you know, the current challenges for the industry. So it is always pleasure and looking forward to the panel discussion going forward. Thank you.
Thank you for the compliments, and this has what we can say raised our expectation from you. So what we will do is we will try to meet your expectations for our future conferences and also for the present one, so that you keep on liking us and you keep on visiting us, whether the ICN website or the ICN e-conference. Thank you, sir, once again. Now I would request Mr. Partha Sood, sir, General Manager Technology, Haldia Petrochemicals, if he can talk about in 60 seconds the digital lessons from 2020.
Very good afternoon, Prashant. First of all, I would like to thank ICN for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on the context. That's a well said. And also thank Aspen Tech for hosting such a beautiful conference. While saying so, this particular day should be marked as a, the learning sessions for the rest of the organizations, those who are not taking part, and all sectors of chemical, whether it is petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, the fertilizers, refining, etc., etc. So it is basically a vast canvas. The entire, the theme that has been set is going to raise a lot of new things, and that will definitely give a larger viewpoint across all the participants. And with that, before I move into my the talk on the subject, see, if you look back, we have been very recent. There the information age that started with 1990 when the internet was born. Then subsequently, we happened to meet across the Y2K problem, and then then there was a issue of the cloud computing in the year of 2010, and then the whole thing started flowing in. Then we moved into the age of digital singularity age, where the mobile has become one of the tools. It becomes a ubiquitous tool for each and every person or every individual, so to say. Then came the 2019, when the 5G and the broadband came in picture, and subsequently in 2020 the COVID era has cropped in, which has basically disrupted the entire the skeleton and entire the social infrastructure. So thereby we moved into the era of the 2020, the last year, in fact, the March, everybody accepted the on the onset of COVID-19, that everybody accepted is that the remote working is a standard norms. And then move into in the month of April, everybody started conducting business on virtual platform like Microsoft Teams, the Cisco WebEx, the Google Hangout, Google Meet, etc., and all that, Zoom. So, and then finally, on May onwards, it has become a borderless workforce, that everybody started working from home. But industries like us didn't have fully realized that kind of the tools, but largely the business functions, they were able to do that. But the operations and the maintenance, etc., we had to do that largely, but the total absence from the site was not, it was practically possible. I think everybody will appreciate that. The point I used to make here is that this kind of, this is one time and where, everybody ran into a larger social kind of unrest, where the companies like us, who really, had to shut down the plant for a month or so, but that even the people did not turn up. So that was a huge task. How do we really assemble people and restart the process? That was a challenge. Then we started, started gradually stabilizing the operations, and then comes without the sustenance part. So basically, I'll be talking about the 2020, how we sailed through the process, then the different areas of petrochemicals and chemical industries, how this digitalization will help us, and the going forward, what would be the thought process that companies at large can think and take it forward. With this, I think over to you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir, of going back to the information age, to Y2K, to cloud computing, to digital, to remote working. I think you summarized everything. And when we talk about the next track, we will talk in detail about the past, which is the COVID world and the post-COVID world. So thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Sanat Kumar. He is the Executive President and Director, Gujarat Fluorochemicals. So if he can throw some light by talking in 60 seconds about the topic. So over to Mr. Sanat Kumar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Praveen and ICM and Aspen Tech for hosting this.
Your video is not.
Yeah, I know it was working when we started it. When I just now checked up, it's not working.
Okay, no problem, sir. Now it's working.
Yes.
So,
sorry. Perfect. So it was not showing up earlier. Then I thought, fine. Yeah. So it was a.
The reason is people would like to see you, sir.
Yeah, that's right. Great. Thank you. Basically, first of all, I'm thankful to the whole team here and ICN and the Aspen for hosting this seminar and taking us through these learning that we had from. Definitely, it has shaken up the basic foundations of working and also thinking about digital technology as a luxury. Of course, things have moved in the past 30, 35 years, but then there is a long way to go when it comes to the chemical industry. And so I think this is one way, of course, after it has this activity of COVID-19 has really shaken up them and see the profitability not just in the terms, I just saw also some questions coming up, how chemical industry is going to decline its profitability, and also coming up if we do not get into digitalization. I think earlier the whole thinking process definitely sets for a change. And this is a big opportunity to make industries and also the service providers to realize the kind of potential that is there, and how we as an industry, and you people who are all also Aspen and other people who are all into the service of developing this kind of softwares, how all we can integrate it into it and make it into a single kind of templates, and then make it into a way where we can really integrate the systems. Now we have different ways and different platforms in which each one is working, and one doesn't talk to the other. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done to bring it in. Also, one of the biggest concerns for any safety, for any chemical industry is safety aspects. And that is one area where we need to really see how we're going to share this knowledge and how we're going to quickly catch up on what needs to be corrected at our end, and acquiring the knowledge from across the similar kind of players and the that are there around, right? We'll discuss it as we move forward, right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's good that the onus lies on both of us, one on the service provider as well as the factory owners as well. Just a backgrounder with respect to AI, and there is a study by PwC which talks about deep tech and AI are synonymous to each other, and the PwC research shows global GDP could be up to 14% higher in 2030 as a result of AI, and could contribute, the number is itself is very humongous. It says $15.7 trillion to the global economy in 2030, making it the biggest commercial opportunity in today's fast changing economy. So just imagine the GDP would be up to 14% higher in 2030 and would contribute 15.7 trillion to the global economy. That's the beauty of AI, which Sunil Patil was talking about. So coming to the second track, and before I come to the second track, let me get some polling questions, and I would request to please, delegates, please type your answers in the chat window, so that and I'm just reading the question. The first question: what percentage of survey respondents indicated that digital transformation is extremely or very important for achieving sustainability goals? A, 90%, B, 75%, C, 30%. I repeat, what percentage of survey respondents indicated that digital transformation is extremely or very important for achieving sustainability goals? A, 90%, B, 75%, C, 30%. So please type in your answers in the chat window. So moving to the second track, where we are going to talk about what people have done and what they are presently doing with respect to digital, and how they have moved ahead. So I would now reverse the order and would request Mr. Sanat Kumarji, if you can talk about the past and the present, and how things are moving.
Okay, just one second. Yeah, one of the things that I would like to say is, right, initial days when we had COVID-19 pandemic, definitely there was a lot of confusion on right from supply chain management. I mean, start with, first of all, whether operability of the plants, whether you can operate the plants or not, and how do we take it forward. And even if you operate, what do you do with the product? What do you do with the raw materials that are coming in? So the whole of supply chain management was a big concern that we had at that initial stages of the when the lockdowns were declared. So by the time we tried to pull up and understand, and second challenge, of course, was coming up with the manpower, and how do we make sure that social distancing is ensured, and what kind of people are really required, and how do we operate it, and how well prepared we are to do that. So and third, of course, is even for raw materials and, as I said, packing materials and other products. Even if you produce it, how do you dispatch it and how do you do the transportation and the whole of supply chain management. So these are the few things that we had to start with. Then initially we moved on to 12-hour operations. To of course, first few days we had to shut down the plants because we were not sure whether our product will move or not. There's always a limited capacity for the storage, any company, and you are not sure what would be the other people are doing and how the other industries, your customers are working and all that. So this knowledge we were only acquiring through the mobile, conversation with the people, and nobody is sure. So it took us nearly initial 10 days of time to really gather where we are going to move forward and how each one is going to be working. And even the movement from one state to another state was a big challenge. So there were many things that came up during this course of time. And of course, an integration at this level with the full knowledge about I'm saying an X chemical is there. If you have an idea, of course, though these are considered maybe as a business confidentials, but if you have such kind of a critical chemicals, a database wherein you are able to network and link it with your customers and understand where we are going to move forward and what is the positions of that, then that would help us in a big way. That is one of the ways where digital things and information sharing online would take us in a big way. Number two, of course, I will further talk about the plant itself, because that's a bigger subject, which we Aspen, Sunil also touched based upon various things that can be done on that, and various areas where we need to improve in the chemical industry on various stages. So that is one area where we can develop. And another one is coming to the shift operations. Now, even if when you are doing the shift operations on the manpower front, how do you transport the people here in a safe social distancing way, in a safe way, so that they are under control? Yeah, and you have people distributed at different locations, picking them up differently. It's not the normal scenario where you are trying to do that. And when we moved into some kind of a 12-hour operations to reduce the overall manpower for operating the plants, and to give them more space or timelines between each shifts that they're coming in duty, so that they get a longer offs. But even then the questions came up is when the other person is not able to turn up, either he's not well or he's not able to turn up on that. So those things, people were not fully prepared. And also to bring in that confidence coming to the plant itself were emotional challenges. So these are various phases that we have gone through in the past. So this has thrown up a lot of learning that for us, both at the emotional level, I'm saying as a human being, what we need to look at is what is at an emotional level, what the survival itself is a question, then how do we take it forward? And it is not a question about just doing business, it is only just a question of making the plant safely shut down and how to operate it. That was the only priority that we had, and sustain the materials in a safe condition so that we do not have any kind of a untoward incidents. So moving from that phase to operating in a very calibrated way to go again into the full plant operation, maybe it took us nearly 15-20 days of time, and we could by so many things and so much of other efforts and support from all customers and basically our employees, we could reach to that level as a company here. And most of the companies I have seen generally by coming back within 20 to 25 days, which is a huge challenge. So now when it comes to the digitalization, how it can help us in one way. Yes, fundamentally, we have been looking at computerization and digitalization earlier as just a question of data analysis and one is the collection of data. Rather, if I go back, it was only a question of typing a Word file rather than using a typewriter. You are moved from the typewriter to the Word file and an Excel sheets or spreadsheets where you are trying to do that and you are trying to do the calculation. That was the basic level where we have been. And we have seen graduating from there. Yes, later on, distribution control systems have helped us in going away from the typical pneumatic ones where you need a lot more employees to be engaged in. And that was also a question many times people posed at that point of time, how safe it is to do it. So as a chemical industry, we have passed through that phase in the way back in 80s. And we have moved to from the typical earlier single loop pneumatic control systems to digital loop controls. Then from digital loop controls to now we have got wireless communications with which you can have the transmitters communicating it to your control rooms and then moving forward. And this is how various phases we have taken it forward. Now, right now, this is how the industry has made, of course, a tremendous amount of profits in terms of, though always in the initial stages, DCS was completely seen as a capital expenditure, and it is not seen as something that would pay back in long run. Only it took us nearly a decade for people to realize the benefits of doing this digitalization there. How many people they have reduced in that operation to make it safe. It's not a question of just reducing the people. When you reduce the people, we are making the operation safe. That is number one. Number two, your ability to know those things remotely and your ability to operate remotely in case of emergencies. These are the added advantages that have come in. So it took a decade for us to realize the benefits of that. And now, as we move forward, so we all know, all of us know the benefit that we are getting in the supply chain industry, and also in data analytics. We'll go to two other areas where the chemical industries that are going to be benefited are. One is the data analytics. Another one we are going to look at is the digital twin, which we call. How well we are able to predict and then do the operation, and how well we are able to maintain the plants. So these are the various phases once we move forward. And how do we build confidence, both we as the users and the service providers? And that is where the whole trick of making it work for all of us in a most economical and profitable way. Definitely all of us have this approach together and work together. We can make this much more safer and also develop some techniques which would take us in a long way forward. And definitely the kind of projection that they are talking about with respect to the profitability, I'm sure they are achievable. It's a question of how smart we are able to link it up and ability to visualize them in right now. I would like to stop it out here and then let the other people to.
Thank you, sir, for your entire description that you made. Really, it was a very difficult time to manage all the things because no such case study was there in front of us where it was documented. So everything was done with the knowledge and with the help of the team, and that would have been a tremendous challenge for all the industry people. Now I request Partha Sood sir, if he can throw light on the past and the present, the problems, the solutions, and how things have moved. And in the third part, we will talk about the future expectations. So over to Partha Sood sir.
I think just to give you a context, we were in head office in our head office in Tekna. So we are just while coming out, I met my sales guy who takes care of talking to people, gather orders, compile the total data. This is the kind of sales volume is going to be in the next month. In the while, how is the market? Things are not good. In that I'm talking about the month of middle of February or so. See, he was saying that the people in China, they are not even they are not telling. They are saying no booking. So, but they are not divulging what was really happening. So within a week after that, we are hearing that there will be some kind of disruptions. There is a coronavirus. We were just speculating, and all of us are not at all aware what is going to happen. So within a month time, the sales gone down, and we were thinking what to do. So none of us were really prepared the kind of the all on a sudden fall that is going to happen, and the plant will go for a complete shutdown, and whether even the labor will not turn up, that was, on in the moment it was, declared by Prime Minister in the month of in the March 24th, precisely maybe in the 24th March, when the entire, there will be complete lockdown. Nobody turned up, and all of a sudden we had to take a shutdown. The supply chain got disrupted, so we could safely take the plant shutdown. Now then we had to preserve it, and that itself was a difficult task. So somehow we could manage that, keep our people, take few people on board, and we could safely take the shutdown and preserve the plant. Now coming back to how do we really, sail through the process. See, in Haldia HPL, we were on the transaction based, platform, transaction based area. We are good at. The SAP was there. Even the many internet based solutions, safety systems, accident reporting system, the MOC, the plant change, the management of change process, tours, leaves, etc., etc. That were very much on the transaction level. Everything was on the digital platform, so we could do it without any kind of hindrance. Also one thing that we have been doing pre-COVID, that we in an organization wide we were moving into kind of rationalization and shared services mode, where the business area was first attempted. The different functions, how different functions on a global level by the group of companies, the sister concerns, the Chatterjee group together, how they were mapping how the entire business can be put on a the total centralized services, in a sense that we were preparing. The technology was being that way built to assimilate and congregate all these functions together, and we were much ahead of that. So those areas we did a very reasonable amount of development, and that was functional to a large extent. So that gave an edge to us. Then secondly, on the operation side, the integrating the manufacturing operations, we started our integration, the truly integrating the entire process of how the manufacturing is captured. So we had a Aspen IP21 system that all across the plant we could do it on a limited. Started this process started way back in 2009, then scaled it up in 2016, and by middle of 17 we could do that. Then came, that was not enough, so we were on a middle way. Then 2017 and onwards we took a, we understood that we are making ourselves ready for big data. So that's why we went out ahead and revamp the entire architecture of the basic manufacturing, the data centralization drive we took, where all this backbone has been created to capture and archive on a global level, and thereby we could connect and all the manufacturing units, and subsequently that learning, and this is a process what we learned in a hard way, that this itself is a process. How do you really integrate? What are the, what kind of data you should take? What kind of frequency you should apply? So these were the exercise by itself. It took more than a year to understand and assimilate. So we could populate everything together. So we are moving into the area of manufacturing and the business compilation under one platform. That was the attempt we have been making. Then came the pandemic. The pandemic, initially we were a bit like everybody in the country and across the globe, we had the same kind of difficulties. So in a sense that the first focus was there, how do we really improve our IT backbone, so that the first and foremost challenge was keeping people safe distance. It was a kind of the disease which we have been gradually came to know. This is actually either widespread, the spread of the disease is very fast. So social distancing, then the touch points, etc. How do you come out of that? So from there, we had a fingerprinting attendance system for our employees. Then we moved out of that and moved into the face recognition system. So then the process started, in the area of our contractual employees. So we moved into that area. So the entire infrastructure creation itself, we have to do it. We have to, even the 20% or 30%, there was a limitation came. 20% people should be there. 30% employees should be reported after a month or so. So even this 1 month, where the prime time when everybody, no one was allowed to move. So that was the time basically we prepared to augment our infrastructure, putting people in the home, providing all kind of infrastructures. And the one thing that I forgot, that we moved into the Outlook, from the Lotus Notes to the Outlook, Microsoft Outlook platform. That has given basically a lot of advantage. So basically what I'm saying, in 2019 we did that. So we were basically moving in phases to that, basically not knowing that this pandemic is going to fall on your head. But we have been readying ourselves to really move into the digitalization, and where basically all these fruits, even the IT backbone, the servers, the broadband connectivity, we have been augmenting in all this for the 2019, early 19 and onwards, and we did a good amount of, then the keeping that spreading the connections and allow people to home. Then VPN connectivity, that itself was within the 1 month we had to do that. So when all the things have made a reasonable standing from the sustenance point of view, then we moved into the operation side. Operation side, we could do that. The data backbone was ready. We started implementing, integrating the plant operation. So where the log sheet, etc. In between, also let me tell you that we moved into, before the pandemic, with the entire.
Partha sir, another 1 minute. You have exceeded your time, so another 1 minute for you, sir.
Okay, so in a sense that we were basically, integrating digitally the logbook, even the e-permit. So the touch points we are trying to get rid of. So those kind of systems we have built. So and then we were basically augmenting and relating entire plant and moving to dashboard KPI, so that the movement of people can be simply on your desktop. You can minimize that, but the basic shift working remains, and where the safety and social distance could be maintained, scheduling, etc. 20% people by rotation, we could sail the time and manage the operations remotely to a large extent, but physical presence was evident. Without that, operations like this site cannot be maintained, and business cannot be maintained that way. Supply chain was gradually, in a manner we started in a different way. With that, I think that phase is a very tough, but we could do it nicely and sail through. Thank you very much for accommodating 1 extra minute to me.
Thank you, sir. Now I would request Mr. Harindra Pandya, sir, if you can throw some light and.
Yeah, let me try and save that minute for all of us. You see, I think if I say that we were ready, before the pandemic arrived, I think I'm not authentic. So let's face it, as a chemical industry, that we were not ready, right? Not that in the previous 2 quarters we were getting ready, to be digitally empowered to handle the situation which was to unfold, when the corona strikes. So we're not ready. What pains me more, Praveen, is that, when I started my career in 90 with Tata Chemicals, I think that time is when, we used to, as a young engineers, we used to hear stories that, there are plants in the Western world which have only 1 or 2 operators, and, it's a kind of autonomous operation. And then over last 3 decades, I was looking at, how our situation around us. And I'm actually very concerned, the way we operate. Forget about the digital and 4.0. But I think as a chemical industry, I think the question in front of us is that, are we even there? Have we actually caught up with even 3.0 or even 2.0? So when this happened, I think before the lockdown was announced, Aarti industry, we decided that we are shutting down the plants. So we did not have that challenge of rushing people after the lockdown was announced. So we took a safe shutdown, and then we were waiting to serve the value of care and integrity with the people, the stakeholders that we serve with, which are employees, customers, society, and so on. In 20 days of lockdown, we realized that we cannot remain not to operate the plant. And why so? Because we provide a very important material for a paracetamol industry. And in the view of uncertainty that was looming large on us, I think getting back to operation was a real necessity. So we decided to start. And I would say that we were partially ready. As Aarti Industries, we are digitally connected. We could connect seamlessly within the leadership team, with the team, the working team. And we could hold the conferences sitting at home and take some critical decisions for the organization to move on. In terms of all the support services, talk about HR, we were ready. We could complete the performance management of the last year. We could onboard the engineer trainees, 150 of them through on a E mode. We could get all, 400-500 hiring done on a E mode. So HR was not such of a challenge. Talk about supply chain, the movement of orders, the purchase orders, the procurement function was not a challenge because we use state-of-the-art platforms, where all approvals move seamlessly through the e-platforms. In terms of finance ERP system, we are ready. I think the real issue that I would like to highlight, and this is a key concern for me, that what is it that we need to do as a chemical industry to really make it happen? And the question that strikes to me time and again. In fact, I must mention here that during this pandemic, the kind of digital initiatives that we are planning, for the last 6 months, we have actually decided, and the implementation also happened through remote. Person sitting in Oman, we could close the deal and we could really move on, with the RT integrated management system. So in a way, our journey continued. But really, it was a jolt that really was needed in the industry. We then onboarded, a CXO level person in RT Industries to drive the digital thing to the next level. So it is now no longer a user-driven IT initiative. It is to catch the trend and make sure that there is a user case for Aspens and other tech companies to prove. What my concern is that Partha talked about sustainability, and Sanat Kumar also talked about number of people that we see when we move around the chemical industry. And that is the biggest concern that we have. When we really sat down to see that how do we resume the plant operation and sustain during the difficult time, I think what turned out is that with whatever optimization you do, you needed a minimum force to run the plant. And that minimum force is a lot of people who could actually sink the ship, and I really mean it. So I think what we need to do is, we as a chemical industry, we are in the dire need to develop an index, and I don't mind, Praveen, if you catch on this and call it a ICN index. But the ICN index, must tell us that how many people are there, or a square meter per person. And that is really key, for the chemical industry. In the project domain, there is a thumb rule. So what is safe in the project environment is, if there is a space for each individual to operate with 25 square meter around, then it's a safe, worker density. I think the chemical industry needs such benchmark, and I would request all the listeners to really go back, open the plot plan and see that where are we. I think this comparison would be very interesting, and it will open up a lot of opportunities for all of us going forward. In the next session, Praveen will talk about the challenges in front of us going forward. Thank you.
Sunil Patil ji, thank you, Harendra Pandya ji. Sunil Patil ji, you have been talking about moving in the direction of AI, but will you proceed with in-house development, or will you continue to acquire and incorporate companies with promising complementary technologies, so that You try to learn from the industry. You try to do something on the basis of the data that you do have. So how do you plan to move in this direction?
Yeah, thanks, Praveen. It's a good question. So as you see from my presentation, right, we believe the AI is the future, right, for the process industry. And that's Aspen Tech is leading towards what we call industrial AI, right? So our vision is to basically combine the AI with the engineering first principle, process models, and bring in our domain expertise into the process simulation platforms to create something what we really called is industrial AI hybrid models, right? And that's an Aspen Tech direction. But really aim is to solve the business problems which guardrails to safety, greener and or safer operations and so on, which I talked about. Now, in order to answer your question, whether we do in-house development or it's acquisition and so on, it's really a combination of both, right? As I mentioned, we do invest a lot in our own R&D. We already have 102 patents and we have more than 100 PhDs working in the development of our softwares, right? So we have our skilled in-house development team, which really focuses on development of next generation simulators, what we call an hybrid simulation technologies. But at the same time, we continue to look at the opportunities in the industry for right size or right technology acquisitions. Just to give examples, we recently acquired a technology called Camera Analytics or OptiPlant, which really helps us to what we call 3D modeling or the analytics within simulation. Or we also have some recent acquisitions like Nubo and so on, which really helps to drive the further enhancement of our technology. So it's a combination of both actually. But of course, we continue to focus our in-house development as well. That's also our key strength of Aspen Tech because we already have a rich domain expertise available in this industry.
Thank you, Sunil Patilji. Before I move to my third track, let me start the second polling question. What is Aspen Tech mission? A, safer, greener, longer and faster. B, cleaner, greener, longer and faster. C, safer, lesser, cleaner and faster. Please type in your answers in the chat window. So I request everybody to please type in the answers in the chat window. So having discussed the two tracks, now I come back to the third track and ask Mr. Sanat Kumarji if he can talk about. See, there would have been a lot of problems that you would have faced, and you would have solved those problems in whatever available resources that you had. But you would have thought, okay, if I would have got a better solution, which definitely I will go give it a try once things become normal. So what are the things that you feel is still lacking and where industry can work together as a unit and solve the problem? So over to Sanat Kumarji. So here we are talking about the solutions which you are aspiring.
Okay. Thanks, Praveen. Can I just share a small slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Sushil, if you can allow Sanatji to share the slide.
Just I wanted to catch up with, because that would become a quicker way of catching up what we're talking about.
Can you hear us?
I've been...
Sushil?
Yeah, give in, sir. Already here.
Now you can run.
Yeah, sorry. Now, can I do it now?
Yeah, you can do it, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, one second. Yeah. Just I want to put only one slide on up here and then discuss on this. This is what I think I would like broadly categorize into various subsects like this, what we're trying to do and what we can definitely achieve as an industry. And there are a lot of things definitely what could have helped us and to do things better way than what we did. Of course, one is about the human aspect of it. That is one where we really see to it that how do we get people that confidence and emotionally they feel strong, that we have enough right kind of tools and tackles and systems to handle such kind of exigencies like the pandemic that we had with this kind of a thing. And that is one aspect, apart from definitely the leadership support and that we have, which I am not going into that aspects. We are focusing more on the AI perspective and the perspective of what kind of tools that will be enablers. Now, these are quite a few things which we have been using quite a bit in a small bits and pieces, and most of the chemical industries probably must be using them. But they have not gone and then taken such a position wherein we will be able to really use them confidently to achieve the result that we are able to achieve the result that we really expect. One, if I talk about the predictive asset management, this is one thing which is very typical thing that we do. And then one is maximizing the asset utilization and understanding and minimizing the unplanned downtime. Especially in such kind of a pandemic, you do not want plant to get shut down. Asset utilization is at least sustainability and continuation, if not do that, if not at least getting a higher productivity. That is one area where we need the various tools to be developed. And yes, DCS is one operation wherein you are trying to do that, but that is only able to compile the data and put that together. But it is not really able to take it to a level wherein you are able to predict how will my distillation column perform 1 week down the line. Do I require a cleaning? Do I need to have a predictability to maintain it? We are talking one about the big machines, rotating machines. Normally there is a major focus on its predictability and working. But there is less and less focus on the actual performance of the unit operations that are happening, that are going on. So ability to predict them now using some new tools and the data analytics, that is the data collected from the DCS and various operations. How do we make sure we are able to really predict it? And once you predict it, how we are sure that this is really a way it is going up? Okay. Now, one is we've talked about delta P's, various chemical equipment that are there, whether pressure drop across the columns, whether the control valve openings across various systems. How do we understand them together? So that is one area where we need to really put a lot of effort and see it together, both with subject matter expert and also the data analytics channel. That is one area. Second, I would say process management and control. Yes, this is a typical way where you can minimize the production variabilities and improve the quality. So this is another area where we need to have the controls that are going to put it into it. One is not alone that DCS is one operation where there are a lot of manual operations that are happening at the back end of it. So which are not captured into the database as of now. So ability to capture them and then see to it that we are able to do them and moving forward. Then third is that energy management, which we look at various sources of energy and how we are taking it forward and overall optimization of that. And this is again integrated with the data analytics and going. I would like to more concentrate on the safety management. Now, this is presently the one way the digital twin is only giving, you are building it as you have built it. Now, for the existing plants, how do we make this happen? See, for the plant which are new coming and the projects, yes, this is the time that they should take it up right in the beginning, and we should be integrated as a part of the existing system. Then it becomes very economical, and also people are able to build it together, because as you are doing the CAD designs and 3D modeling of that, and that can be straight away integrated into it. But for the operating plants, existing operating plants, how do we make sure that we are able to capture the exact situation of the way the lines are there, the way the equipments are there, and what their condition is as of today? So we have no such model which is available, which is able to capture it right away in an effective, efficient, and in a low cost way. Maybe there are some measures, but they are not really as of now used extensively. They need to be used extensively. We must be able to gather all the data of the existing assets in full force and able to utilize them in different ways. Once I collect the data about the pipeline layouts and everything, I understand the condition of it. It should be useful tomorrow for me to plan for the replacement of the pipeline, or to do some maintenance activity of the pipeline, or even to prepare a blinding diagram where we need to have some kind of a, where we can do decontamination of the equipments in a safe and sustainable way. So this is the way where existing plant assets needs to be mapped. This is one area where we need to put a lot of effort. So most of our plants are maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years old in every industry across this thing. And that is the one area where we need to focus upon. And no, presently service providers are actively involved in doing this mapping in this area. So this is one I would like to more and more give focus, and how to integrate it with the all kinds of safety management, right from the mechanical integrity and quality assurance to a process safety management, to the maintenance of that, and how to hand over an equipment and how to take it over an equipment. How do you ensure that these are again done in the right way at that point of time? And then what is the cross checks that you have? Okay. Yes, there is no substitute for a person going there right now and seeing that the blind is put at the right place. And what are the limitations are there today to do that? There may be a structure which is falling, where he may not be able to do. You think this is an ideal way of doing things, but you know, when it goes to real execution of the job, you have a big limitation. Either you do not have an access, you don't have a position even to put a chain pulley block, you cannot pull up an equipment. So this is one area wherein we are not able to integrate the whole of asset management into that. And this is, I think, when I talk about other aspects, we are progressing a little bit. There are some systems which are in position right now. There are some positions which can be developed further. And I can see some work going on in that. And what we look at right now is this safety management with this kind of a asset monitoring is one area where we are lacking as an industry all over. And even the service providers are not actively involved in doing such kind of a work in these areas. So if you have a process already developed and then doing, yes, we are doing the simulation, which I'm talking about, production simulation, which is used for operator training. These are some level, they are available now, but they are also not fully robust. We need to make them robust with the data analytics, which can be definitely sitting on top of it. Okay. That confidence building is required. As I was telling in my earlier session, how do you think that distribution control system will make it more robust? There were a lot of licenses who were not recommending us to go for it. When I go back into 85, they were suggesting a triple redundant independent system not connected with DCS for kind of a PLC logics and shutdown systems, because that was not the confidence that they had that a DCS will work. Today, we are moved away from there. Okay. And this is an area where we need to build that kind of confidence that safely we can do operation and maintenance of the equipment, even at a remote level, and do it efficiently. So that area is one where I would wish that we move forward and we also take actions on that. As a GFL also, we are looking other activities. Yes, we are up to certain level. I'm not saying where other top benchmarking companies have been there, but maybe I would say a 20-30% level of that present the best benchmark companies are there. Now we are moving forward in each one of them to a higher level right now. And this area is where we require more and more inputs to coming from the future. And I would like GFL to really build such kind of an asset integrity so that we take forward into the better world and better, safer world of chemical industry.
Thank you, Sanatji. Now I request Partha Sood, sir, if you can add on whatever Sanatji has said, so that we can save on time. We are already at 16:24. So if you can just add on the things which needs to be done by the partners or by the ecosystem, so that things can move ahead. And also, I would request Harinder Pandya ji if they can add. So now I would request first Partha Sood, sir, and then Mr. Harinder Pandya ji.
I'll put it this way: the one thing is that what Mr. Sanat Kumar time and again emphasizing, the first thing is that the safety, process safety management one, which is the topmost driving parameters for the focus for any company with handling chemical, petrochemical, refinery, etc., because that has a larger bearing on the environmental and social ecosystem. So in order to reach there, so what is most important is what kind of digital tools and techniques is basically helping us. For that, what is more important is, the building the right kind of infrastructure. So that is the first and foremost. So building the right kind of infrastructure, I mean, the bringing data from the edge to the historian, and how all that, even your FNG system, even my, the asset, how the asset is mapped, how the asset is monitored, and how the asset that the control walls, the alarm management system, everything put together. It's a process, entire process module has to be integrated in a manner which aid in basically giving you some kind of directional view, so that you can take a call. So day-to-day basis where you are. So that is where the predictive analytics, which will basically help us, where the digital tools like the simulations and the MES solutions, so simulation tools like Aspen Plus or Pro2 and all that kind of simulation engine, when they are integrated with the real time, the real time data. So basically you are trying to converge the reality with the first principle model. So that's where the company is going forward. The more of such they develop, basically give that kind of higher mileage. So from there you can go into the mode of the predictive analytics. From predictive, go into the prescriptive. So prescriptive is a kind of recommendation. That is a high level. So what we are saying, that from the business level, you do one part, and the process and operations, including safety. Safety is, we have been hardly hit. There are instances. So safety is the one for topmost priority. And this is the area which is basically a lot of chemical engineering fundamentals comes in. I'll put it this way: the artificial intelligence and AI can give you a lot many visibility in that area. Basically, what is artificial intelligence?
Sir,
AI is
another 30 seconds, sir.
So basically that gives you directive what kind of downtime, what kind of intricacies is happening, that you can take a right time. So this is this equipment is performing this way. I am not too far off. I need to take a call or arrange and train. The most important is to train your people. That is the thing we did it in this period, so that your entire workforce understand what is digitalization is all about. That is fundamental. So that help you a large way, so that not only one person, the entire organizational workforce need to be equipped to understand the digitalization, and it should be a better on the higher end and helping people and the business. And finally, one thing I'll sum it up, that one point, that we are moving into the EBITDA level now. From here, from the macro level to the micro level, finally we'll be moving into the daily EBITDA. So molecule to molecule level monitoring we are going to have. That's an enterprise-wide optimization. That's the last thing you want to do, keeping everything under safe and under your control. That's where the organization need to move going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Arindra Pandya ji, if you can add on whatever has already.
Just quickly, Praveen, let me play the ball back to Sunil and the other tech companies who are listening. There are a set of users who understand and appreciate what digital can bring to the chemical industry, right? And as RT industry, I have no hesitation, or on behalf of chemical industry, I want to assure you that we are here to partner with companies like you. Let's work as partners to really make the difference. That's all I want to say. Machine learning, we handle hundreds of alarms every day in control room. Do you think that the machine learning is not useful? It can actually unlock, the potential, potential of opportunity. So I'm just playing it back to Aspen Tech and the competition. I'm here. I'm inviting all of you to come and run a pilot with me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sunil, if you can talk about some of the things which has already been said, and what is the probable answer that you have for the solutions that the industry is asking for?
Yes, certainly. Yes, so I think all of the three panelists talk a lot about digital solutions and the challenges they have, right? So certainly Aspen Tech can help work with you and as a partner, right? As Pandaji rightly said, right? So we work as a partner and making sure that we demonstrate that value, right? So Pandaji, who used the word, work with us as a pilot, right? So definitely that's the way forward. And the technology is what we have. I think I shared some of the use cases, success stories already. We have already delivered the values, proven technology, and certainly we keep continue developing the things, right? Of course, AI ML is the new thing. As Pandaji rightly mentioned an example, they already thousands of alarms are already acknowledged, right? But what I'm going to do with that information, that's an important area going forward, right? So the models which are already there, bringing those domain expertise and first principle models together with AI/ML, that certainly Aspen is looking forward to work with all of you guys, right? So that's our vision and direction. We call it as a self-optimizing plant vision, right? So making sure that the plants are operable, reliable, safer, and greener, right? You are on mute, yeah.
Thank you, Sunil. One last question for the quiz part. How many patents does Aspen Tech have? You can type in your answers in the chat window. How many patents does Aspen Tech have? So with this, now I open the floor for Q&A. Sir, Harinder Pandya ji, sorry we have overshoot our time, but I will try to wrap it up in another, say by 4:45, if that's okay with you. Sorry of taking that 15-minute grace from all of you. Coming to the Q&A part, we have questions from Mr. Rajiv Tiwari. He's talking about with digital transformation lagging behind badly in chemical industry across the globe, how will digitization change the profit pools of chemical and petrochemical industry? So I think anybody can take this up because this is a hot topic. And
yeah, Praveen, if you see, I think I have answered all the questions.
Okay.
You know, and it is not private, it is seen. So there is no questions which are yet to be answered.
Okay.
If there are any more new questions, we can take on them. Otherwise, they are all answered during the call itself.
And the other was the digital effect.
Yes. All the questions are answered in last 20-30 minutes. So you could see the answer, right?
Yes.
People are able to see the answer, right?
Yeah. Yes.
If there is a connected question, we can take on that.
In your questions. Because definitely digital has an impact, and if you do a modular wise or if you do a complete kind of a thing, then you get more advantages, or your profit and loss will definitely be better with more modularity integration that you do over a period of time. So we do not have many questions, and I think all have been answered. I see 5 answers which have been answered.
Correct.
So before I do my concluding remarks, and in the meanwhile, I will get the what we can say answers for all who the winner who are the winners. So let me conclude by saying that the presentation that Sanatji talked about, and then value additions which was made by Partha Sood sir and Harinder Pandya sir, I think the industry needs to collaborate and combine their efforts to see where the gaps are, which was mentioned, and how these can be utilized so that we can move to a remote kind of a scenario, or a plant which is less manpower but more on technology part as we move forward. So this is my concluding remark, because Sanatji has made my task easier, and I would request Mr. Sunil Patil to give his concluding remarks, because then after that I will thank everybody. So Sunil Patil ji, your concluding remarks.
Thank you, thank you. So I think, I think all the panelists, they touch upon the topic digitization and the collaboration among the technologies, licenses, and the peer industry companies. I think certainly that's the way forward for all of us. And from an Aspen Tech point of view, I think, as I mentioned earlier, right, we being a technology provider, we being a digital solutions provider, we are happy to work with and collaborate with all of you, right? Thanks everyone for your insights and valuable guidance and where we stand today, your company, pre-COVID and post-COVID scenarios and so on, right? I think that's valuable insights, right? Finally, to summarize, I just want to show up this one slide about our upcoming Optimize 21 conference. So as you can see here, this event is scheduled, it's a virtual event scheduled from May 18 to 2021. So this time it's an entire 100% virtual event. Otherwise, typically it's a face-to-face event we do conduct somewhere in US, mostly in Houston area. So being it's virtual, it's a completely free access available to everyone. So please feel to register and participate to get insights from industry leaders and experts to learn about their successes, their visions, and how industry is moving towards digitization, right? And of course, there is a lot of on-demand content, and you can connect with your peers and do the networking with the peer companies across the globe, right? This is a 2 days event. Of course, for Asia Pacific, it's 2 days because, as you know, the event is mostly in the US time zone. So we have a special Asia Pacific session scheduled on 19 and 20, right? And we expect more than 100 papers to be presented. And you will have a lot of panel discussion, plenaries, and of course, industry success stories and presentations from Aspen Tech experts as well, right? So please visit optimize21.com and register. As I said, the registration is complimentary. You do not have to pay anything, and request anyone to take advantage of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil Patil ji. I would request all delegates to give their feedback in the chat window. And in the meanwhile, we are getting the winner's name. So I would request if you can give your feedback in the chat window on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, so that we can improve upon the e-conference as we move forward. So please type in your answers. Let me thank all our speakers for taking time out from their busy schedule. Mr. Harinder Pandya, Joint President, Aarti Industries, Mr. Partha Sood, General Manager Technology, Haldia Petrochemicals, Mr. Sanat Kumar, Executive President and Director, Gujarat Fluorochemicals, and Mr. Sunil Patil, Director, APJ Solution Consulting, Aspen Tech. I would also like to thank them on behalf of all my delegates. Let me also thank our presenting partner, Aspen Tech. Let me thank all delegates who participated in this conference and all delegates who registered for this e-conference, but who cannot listen, who was not able to attend, can listen to the video by logging on to our website, indianchemicalnews.com. And tonight or tomorrow morning, the web video would be available on our website. All videos of our past conference is also available. So if anybody wants to listen to it or see to it, they can definitely do it. Let me thank Team ICN. So the first question was, what percentage of survey respondents indicated that digital transformation is extremely or very important for achieving sustainability goals? The answer is 75%. And the winner is Nikita Javle. She is a process engineer at SAIL Thane. Thank you, Nikita, for winning this. The second was, what is Aspen Tech mission? Safer, greener, longer, and faster. And the winner is Pratik Salunke from Dekra, India. He's an assistant manager, sales and marketing, Mumbai. And the third, which was about, say, how many patents does Aspen Tech have, is around 120 plus. And the winner is again Nikita Javle, he's process engineer, SAIL. So Nikita has won 2, and Pratik Salunke has won 1. So before I thank, I would request all delegates to register for the next set of events. On April 2nd, we are doing on hydrogen. the next clean energy. On April 9, we are focusing on creating an efficient and agile model of R&D in pharma. And on April 16, we are focusing on Indian specialty chemicals opportunities galore. I would like to thank once again all my speakers, all my delegates for coming, attending, and also taking their time out from the busy schedule to encourage us, as well as to encourage our delegates, and also to enlighten them with their thoughts, with their solutions that they are having, so that everybody can benefit in the long run in terms of knowledge sharing. I would like to thank you all once again. This is Praveen Prashant signing off, to meet again on April 2nd at 2:55 p.m. Till then, goodbye.